Hi guys, Nigel here. Today we're gonna do some exciting new things. If you haven't checked the previous tutorial, make sure you have done it already, so you can just come along and, well, texture your world. So let's start it. First, let's open up the Unity Hub, and after that's open, just make sure you open your previous world that we created in the last tutorial. For me, it's my amazing home. There we go. So if you haven't seen the previous tutorial yet, uh, in that tutorial we're making this home with, well, a mirror, some chairs, and a small house, if you can even call it a house. But it doesn't really look that nice at this moment. When you look at it, it's just all pretty white and gray. It's not really suiting the eye. So let's fix that in this tutorial. So before we start, I wanna show you a website where you can find a lot of textures, and I mean a lot of textures. Almost everything you're looking for is over there. So let me open up my browser, and when you go to textures.com, you will see this website. Make sure you create a free account, because you will get 15 credits every day. This is not sponsored, by the way, but you get 15 credits every day, and with those credits you can just download any texture you can find on here. And I must say, I almost never use those 15 credits up. Whenever I download one texture, I keep it on my computer in a library and make sure I don't have to download it twice. So let's find some textures to color a house with. Let's start with, well, I already put in wall, so let's find for a suitable wall for our house. I would like to go for something, I don't know, we could go for a little bit of torn house. Maybe let's go for a little grayish house. That looks pretty nice and could be in the inside of a house as well. If you look over here, you can see multiple textures, and we actually only need like the albedo, but you can see it's not really showing anything. So we need more for that. We need a normal map so we can see all those gaps in between. And we need the AO, ambient occlusion, so it gives a little bit of more depth to your texture. So when you have signed in, you can still see I got 15 credits, and the small or medium piece cost like 1 credit. Let's download just the 512 version. We don't actually need the biggest of the biggest textures, because it's gonna, well, clutter up our project. It makes it only bigger than it should be. After all, it's a VR game and not a real software or program that we're trying to sell. Let's download the small one, the albedo, and we take the small one for normal map, and we will take the ambient occlusion also. And they also provide some different colors, so if you like to have, for example, a red or a green one, you can take them as well. Well, for now, just let's take the blue one as well. We got 4 textures right now, and if you want to know where to put those textures in, you can just press in your project on assets, and we create a new folder. We're gonna call this folder materials, because they will contain our materials. And we open that folder, and then we create another folder, and this one we're gonna call textures, just so we keep the textures near our materials. Right click on the folder and show in Explorer. It will bring up your Explorer, and you can see the folder over here. It's the same, so we open that up and it's still empty. We have no textures yet. So let's get back to our browser. Minimize this a little bit, drag this aside, and let's just drag all of these textures in here. All right, we got ourselves some wall textures at this moment. What else do we need? We need a floor, of course. We want to be able to have a nice, maybe a little bit shiny floor. Let's go for, I like this one. A little bit of marble-ish. So again, we're going for the albedo. That's just the texture, the colored texture, or the colored version of your material. Let's clear this one up first, so we got a new download bar. We don't actually need the height, but we do need the normal. And they got an ambient occlusion as well, so let's take that. We got the textures, drag them in the texture folder. Right. What else do we need? Maybe we want some wood. We like to have a wooden stair in some case. Of course, you can just color your scene with any texture that you like. I'm just giving some examples on how to do it and where to find your textures. You can create the awesome worlds ever made. Let's just go for some real wood blank. Again, we're first clean up that download bar, then we're getting the small albedo, we're getting the normal map and the ambient occlusion, and that's it. Also, when you're looking up for textures on this website, make sure they are seamless, because if they're seamless you can just place them on anything and it will always look like one piece of texture. We also have some textures that are not really seamless at all. Let me quickly find something. Oh, this is all seamless. Let's go to paint all the way down. There are a lot of textures in here. Okay, can you just give me, nope. Okay, let's go to roofing. Maybe this is better. Metal roofs. When you hover over it, you can also see it. This one is seamless. This one is seamless. This one is seamless, but obviously it's only seamless on the horizontal axis. If you go vertical, it doesn't seem. If you look up here, then you can see it's a different kind of color, so it won't really match up. And the further we go down, the worse they will get like this. This is not seamless at all. It's just a picture of a roof. But if you have some great Photoshop skills or something, then you can just cut this out yourself and make it seamless. And the same goes for like a lot of other textures. Just for the ease of use, we're gonna go for seamless textures because they are already good to go and ready for your models. this one is not seamless at all, so make sure that you have one that says seamless as well. Right, with the I didn't drag them over yet, so let's drag wooden textures over as well. And now we got a bunch of textures in here. So how are we gonna create materials for them? You just saw that Unity was loading the textures that I just placed in the folder. So over here we now all have these textures. So let's go back to the materials folder and right click inside that and go to create and material. So we're gonna create a material first, and for this material we start with the wall. So we're gonna call it a wall. Maybe we should give it a slight different name, but we'll see how it goes. So on the albedo is actually the colored version of your material. So when you open the small circle button over here, you can just press it. It's gonna open this window and you can select any of the materials you have. So let's select that black material that we gathered before, that was called the albedo texture. And we had a normal map, but that's this one. You can already see that stones are coming through it. You can already see it's becoming a stone texture at this moment. The only thing that is happening now is because we didn't set to Unity that was a normal mapping, he notices it and asks to fix it for you. So just press that button and it's all good to go. It changes slightly and it's way better than it was before. You can see nice lightning over there and over here. Okay. It almost looks like there is real depth in this image. Well, if you remove it, it's just a gray picture that we added. But with this normal map, it adds so much more depth to the picture that it's starting to look better. And the last picture that we downloaded was the ambient occlusion. So like the little small circle, and it was this one if I'm correct. You can press a texture and just check the title. We can see that it's stating AO and it was the ambient occlusion. So let's edit it. You will not notice anything, but in game it just adds a little bit more shadowing to the bricks. And what you see me done now is like I just drag, hold and drag this bubble, this ball, and I just place it over any of the walls that I previously have added to the world. It's just as easy as that. Just drag them on any part of your world that you want to have it. As you can see, it's already showing the texture on it and it looks way better. But at this moment, you, as you can tell, the bricks are kinda small in comparison to like real life. It's like almost Lego bricks. Let's fix that first. Just press once on your material and then in the side and down a little bit. You have tiling over here, and when you increase the tiling, it makes the texture smaller. So if you lower it, like give it 0.5 and 0.5, it's becoming bigger. We can even make it like 0.2 maybe, and it was 2.2 I meant, and you can already see it's starting to become more realistic now. Well, at this moment they're way too big, so let's make them 0.33, and that actually looks pretty good. You can see it go around on every piece of wall. It's starting to look the same and way and way better, excuse me. So what else can we do in the material? Well, we can if we have an opacity or like a transparent picture, can be cut out to make it transparent. Fade is mostly fading away the texture in its whole state, so you can see through a bit. And transparent is almost doing the same. It's slightly different, but you can already see that you can look through this wall and see the other wall, so it's not always a good option to pick those. Most of the time you will be using opaque and cutout, and these two won't be necessary a lot. For this, just gonna stick to opaque, and you can select here if you want like the highlights from the sun. Where do we have the sun? The sun was somewhere up there. So when you it's hard to see because we have a roof or a ceiling above this. You can see when we're starting to look more towards the sun, you can see like the specular, the highlights on the texture. You can turn that off. See it over here already. Just disables the highlights on the bricks. And we got reflections. So if we set up some reflection nodes, you can actually see your room in the wall texture. Now it probably just takes some color of the sky cube, so like a little bit of the blue. And that's almost it, because the enable GPU instancing is actually one that you want to keep checking every time that you create a new material. It's pretty important for like the newer computers, the newer video cards will make it way faster to render the materials when this is checked on. Keep that checked on. If you see something stating enabling the GPU instancing, and well, actually this texture is as good as done. Normally you want to check the normal map as well and just tweak it a little bit, but because we started with a gray texture, we want it pretty high, because else it's not noticeable that it should have those gaps, making it look like a brick wall. So let's keep it just on 1, and overall you don't have to tweak anything. If you want, you could just play with the metallic a little bit. You can see it makes it a little bit darker, but it also makes it way more reflective. So when this is turned up all the way, it will reflect anything that it can. Like if we put a reflection node over here, and I'll do that in a second, then you can see like the whole building and the whole inside of this building through the texture as well. And for the smoothness, it's just to smooth out the highlights a little bit, so when you put it all the way up, it's gonna be a really shiny, wet looking wall, and all the way down it's getting more like realistic. This part it isn't, but over here it's starting to become more realistic, you can tell. And you can just play with these settings as much as you want. You can already see, by the way, the outlines of the world over here, and you can see it's becoming a little bit bluish, darker over here, just the same as the sky cube over here. So for now we got the wall, and just play a little bit with the settings, get it right to suit your needs, and this looks pretty dope to me. That's one wall. Let's go for the floor. We press again, right click on the folder, go to create and press material. We're gonna call this floor. And again we select this little circular icon. We're gonna add our albedo floor texture, and the same goes for the normal map. This one, yeah, tiles. And we're gonna fix it again because we didn't set it up right. And for the occlusion, this is the AO and the occlusion. And we're gonna enable GPU instancing. At this point our texture is done. We can just drag and drop it, and we can see again that it's way too small. So we go over to tiling and we set it to 1.3, 1.3 in the X and in the Y. It starts to become bigger and better already, but still a little bit small. So let's go for 0.1.1, and well, that looks pretty good to me. Like big marble tiles, I like it. I want this to be a little bit more shiny than this dull looking material it is right now. We're gonna crunch this up a little bit, and you can see sky texture is already coming through. It's getting a little bit bluish, and we're gonna make it way more some. You can see over here what it does. It's the highlight, and more like that. But when we're looking at it, we actually don't want to see this, so we're gonna turn off the specular highlights, and it's gone. It still looks good enough. You can see that it is doing some weird artifacts over here. So for the normal map we need to put it a little bit more down, 0.7, and it's almost on, maybe more, 0.6. That looks better. We have our floor texture. Awesome. And we had one more texture, and that's the staircase that we wanted to make more wood alike. So again, press right click in this folder, go to create and select material, and here we're going to press that little circle again next to albedo. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna select our wooden texture. Same goes for the normal map. It's the normal map. Press fix it now. And for the occlusion, AO. And there it is. We made our third material. So we can just drag and drop it on the staircase. Well, it doesn't look that great yet. Let's make it 0.3 point. No, the big is fine. 0.5 is fine. GPU instancing again. Boom. That should do it. We got ourselves some nice wooden texture, but also again it doesn't look really realistic. It's actually kind of weird, and that's again our normal map is way too high for this texture. So drag it down a little bit so you can see a little bit of those gaps going on. We're gonna play with these settings to become way better. Maybe a little bit too shiny. Less shiny. There we go. And that looks just fine. So we got ourselves a fully colored house right now. If we want to make a separate kind of color from an existing one, like we have the black stones over here, we can just select that wall and we can duplicate it. Okay, we cannot do it in here, so just press on it and press and hold Control and D, and it creates a new material from the one that you had selected. This is gonna be blue wall because we also downloaded a blue texture. So select that blue texture and it's now bluish. It's exactly the same. We have the same settings, so if we switch between them, the only thing that changes is the albedo color. We can just drag and drop it on the wall that we want to be blue. Let's do this back wall as well. Look at that, we got some blue and some gray walls. If you want to make it a little more unique, we could also have one wall selected and scale it, well no, scale it down, drag it down a little bit, duplicate it by Ctrl D, drag this one up, press and hold V in the corner and make sure it aligns up to the other wall, and drag this blue one on it, so you got a 50-50 wall. It's not the best way, of course, because you can see the wall popping out over here. But when you work with smaller tiles, like we have tiles like this, it's way more easier to, well, make different kind of colors, create a checker border like texture. For this purpose you will get the idea of how the texture works and how you can put them on models in your scene. That is it. It's just easy like that. You just go to the website textures.com and you enter anything that you want, like a ceiling or whatever you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for some grass. I'm way too fast for this website. Maybe you're looking for some grass. Well, you get some billboard grass that you can place, but we're actually more talking about this kind of grass. So you could download this grass and put it in your project and make the outside, instead of these marble tiles, make it grass. Yeah, that goes for all the models you have. We can make the roof exist out of wood now because we have that texture. Or we can make the ceiling but also blue bricks. That's it, guys. Was easy like that. I cannot show myself in the mirror this time, but I want to thank all you guys that, well, all you guys that supported me on Patreon so far. It really means a lot to me, and well, that way I'm able to do this for you guys. And I hope to see more of your projects in the future. You show me things that you create, or post them in like any of the topics that I made, or just share them through Discord. For now, thanks a lot, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.